everybody, Fred the Pirate here, and this is a review for Naruto chapter 623 entitled A View. So pretty much what happens in this week's chapter is we continue with flashbacks with Madara and Hashirama's children. And so pretty much in this chapter they're still talking to each other and they're still getting to know each other, and we see their developing friendship. And eventually, Hashirama and Madara, when they hang out, they go up to this mountaintop, which eventually becomes the Hokage Mountain, and that they come up with the idea of how to set up the village. So, like, they're not putting anything concrete, it's just like they're planting the seeds. And towards the end of the chapter, we find out that Hashirama's father and his brother Tobirama know that he's hanging out with Madara, and they know he's a Uchiha. And I don't think Hashirama knew that. I think we know he suspected it, but not that he didn't know. And so then Hashirama's father tries to use Hashirama to set up Madara, and then it turns out towards the end of the chapter that Madara's father and his brother had the same plan, so they ended up using the skipping stones to help each other out and to get each other out of a tight squeeze, because they were supposed to set each other up, but since they were friends, that they decided not to do that. So I guess next chapter, I think it's obvious that Hashirama's and Madara's fathers and brothers are gonna fight each other. And I think obviously next chapter we're gonna continue them developing, making the Leaf Village a real thing, and obviously seeing them getting stronger. I think as far as this chapter goes, in my opinion on it, to me it was an okay chapter. Like honestly, it kind of just seems like fillers. Like the only important thing that happens is that Madara and Hashirama talk about kind of how they would like to change the world. But like they did that like 2 chapters ago, so I don't think and we know that they're friends. So honestly, I don't think this chapter really achieved anything, and I think it was kind of redundant, because I think in chapter 621, obviously we figure out they talk about them developing their friendship, and they talk about the problems that they have with their society and how they'd like to change it. And I think last chapter we dealt with the issue of child soldiers, which was a major reason why they wanted to change that society, because they were losing their family members, particularly very young ones. And so honestly, like, I think chapter 621 and 622 pretty much did a better job and already established the points that this chapter wanted to establish. So I really don't see the point of this chapter, other than we got to see Madara and Hashirama kind of hang out. But at this point, like, this whole thing is a flashback that is occurring in the middle of a war, and like in the present time, like, we're having Madara and Obito fight Naruto in the whole joint ninja army. So it's like, I don't really think that it is appropriate to have a filler chapter that's taking place, not only a filler chapter, but a flashback filler chapter. It's like, I think it's important to stay on point. And it's like, I think, I don't think Kishimoto's being very effective with his storytelling. It's like, tell your story, but be effective about it. It's like, you don't have time for filler, and especially not flashback filler. And honestly, I think next week's chapter might be kind of fillerish too. If the only thing that's going to happen is we're going to see their dads fight. I mean, I hope that doesn't take that much of the chapter. Like, I'm hoping that they fight each other real quick, and then that Madara and Hashirama do some really badass shit, even though they're like 10. And then we keep, like, honestly, by next chapter, we need to start seeing them as at least teenagers. And, like, and Mito needs to come in there, and Kurama needs to be in there. And, we need to get, Madara's brother Izuna, he needs to, like, that guy, he needs to die. Like, we need to get on top of things. I mean, like, this flashback doesn't need to take that much time because I think we already know a lot of the stuff that's going to happen and what results in it. It's like, we know Madara turns evil. We know why he turns evil. We know they make the Leaf Village. I think honestly we kind of just needed to know exactly what the motivations for making the Leaf Village were, but I think we know that now. It's like, and we kind of just need to hurry stuff along. And it's like don't do filler things. So, well, at least for the upcoming chapters, I certainly hope that, we keep, an effective pace and that we're not taking time to do redundant stories. Like, because, nobody likes things that are redundant. And I can tell you personally that I especially don't like things that are redundant. And this is a redundant chapter. Like, we're not getting anything that we haven't gotten before and that has been done better previously. And that's not good storytelling, and that's not even effective storytelling. It's like, don't be redundant. Because, like, nobody likes that. So, like, I'm hoping that it's like, and I mean, and to be honest, like, all of us, we know what we need to get done in this flashback. We need them to grow up. We need Hashirama to meet Mito and hook up with her and have baby Shinju. We need him and Tobirama to become Hokage. We need Madara to become evil. Like, we know what needs to be done. And it's like, like, we all know what needs to be done. And it's like, and like, we need to do this in an effective manner because, like, we're literally probably in the middle of the climactic point of the story, or at least what should be. So this flashback is kind of questionable on its own way because it's occurring in a really climactic moment in the story. And it's like, we have this super climactic thing happening, and then we're just going to stop and have a flashback right now. And it's like, honestly, with that point, I think that Kishimoto could have answered the questions he needs to answer without the flashback, to be honest. I think, like, he could have just had a thing, like, where Hashirama's talking to Sasuke and they're just, like, leaping through the trees while they go to the battlefield. Like, I think, because honestly, I think they're, like, Sasuke only had 2 questions, and I don't really think that they had that long of answers, which is, why'd you make the village? And I think Hashirama pretty much answered that. It's like, I wanted to make a better society. It didn't pan out. It's like, honestly, I did the best I could, and then I gave the reins to my predecessors, and it's not really my fault that my predecessors just didn't do as good of a job, that it happens. I think Hashirama did the best that he could, but, he's only one man, and if you want society to be better, it takes more than one guy. And as far as the point of ninja, like, honestly, I don't think Hashirama can answer that because, ninja existed previous to him being alive, so I don't know if he could necessarily answer that question in all fairness. I think, like, really, I think only the Sage of the Six Paths could answer that question because I think he was the first ninja, so he could probably say, well, this is what I was kind of hoping to achieve with it. But then it's like, I think what happened with ninjas, I think, could be just as easily answered by what happened with the village, which is that I thought I had a good ideal. I wanted to change society, but ultimately, I'm just one guy, it takes more than one person to change and improve society. So, I think, definitely could have answered that without the flashback. So, yeah, but pretty much since those were Sasuke's questions, like, I don't really know if we needed a flashback to answer those because, like, he only had 2 questions. I don't think we needed the flashback necessarily. And now it's kind of starting to get fillery. So, like, I hope it improves itself, but, like, we need to move stuff along, and hopefully the upcoming chapters do that, and that they're more effective and less redundant and fillery. So, with that said, this has been a review of Naruto chapter 623, and make sure that you guys tell me what you thought about the chapter or the series in general, because I'd like to hear your guys' thought on that, and also make sure to uh, rate stuff and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.